Welcome back to the Find Your Ultra podcast. Those of you who might have missed the important update on social media, I am delighted to share with you that this podcast has been chosen among the top 10 podcasts in the long form content category by Anchor Spotlight, which is an initiative of Spotify. That might be the app that you're listening to this on. Entries were submitted from across India, and the top 10 among the submissions won a prize, and we were one of those. And even in the top 10, Find Your Ultra podcast was ranked number 4. Now, is this a big deal? I don't know. But the fact that we are just starting out and the fact that we're getting some great reviews about the podcast from our listeners, and the fact that we have some regular listeners who look forward to an episode feels like an approval of some kind. I mean, those awesome messages and this inclusion in the top 5 seems to be perhaps an indication that we are on the right track. Even though we have a long way to go, we are perhaps in the right direction. And we shall keep moving forward with relentless optimism, resilience, and joy. In other words, Chardi Kala. Today's guest is an entrepreneur, an angel investor, an art collector, a metalhead, a bird photographer, and not the least of all, a runner. This is Munish Jauhar, who's lived most of his life in Chandigarh. So this is the first time Find Your Ultra podcast has come out of Delhi, which is its home. It will hopefully travel across India now. Coming back to this episode, I really enjoyed this conversation. In the first half, we talk about all of the lesser known aspects of Munish's life. And in the second half, we talk about how he has managed to transcend his game from a run-of-the-mill ultra-runner to someone who has become good enough to qualify for the world's most iconic ultramarathon, the Spartathalon. We recorded this conversation early March, and at that time he had only met qualification criteria for Sparta. But as of today, the day we're releasing this interview, his name is in the final lineup. So he will be towing the start line of this iconic race later this year. Munish's journey, in my opinion, is a confirmation of the fact that if you have the desire and you're willing to apply yourself, anything is possible. Do listen to this entire episode. If nothing else, I promise it will make you believe in yourself just a little more. Enough said, let's go straight to the conversation. This is me and Munish Jauhar in the Find Your Ultra podcast, episode 9. Enjoy. Find Your Ultra podcast has come to Chandigarh today for the first time out of Delhi NCR, and I'm so glad I'm sitting with Munish Jauhar, who's an extremely good friend of mine and a wonderful runner. So I've been looking forward to doing this for a very long time. I'm glad we are finally doing this.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for inviting us over.
My pleasure.
And the context of this recording is that we were out here on a holiday with our family, and we just took a day's break in Chandigarh, and I took Munish sir for granted, and I was like, सुबह रिकॉर्डिंग करनी है and he's so generous, he instantly agreed to do this. Did you lose any sleep overnight? Did you like
No,
क्या पूछेगा क्या बोलना है?
Very honestly, when I started doing all this public speaking a little bit, I was very apprehensive. I still remember the first time I did it, I had 2 shots of whiskey before I went on stage. But now because of running, there is hardly any whiskey involved, so I'm a little more comfortable doing this.
You still had 2 shots, but they were of espresso.
Yes.
But yeah, so wonderful, sir. This is a great feeling to be doing this with you. I want to cover quite a few things, but before we get into all of those, I want to give the audience a little bit of background of why this podcast is important. You've been somebody I've been following for a while. I met you in the Great Run of Punjab, where I did a 200k and you were starting out your ultra running journey, and you were doing 80k, right?
80, yeah.
और उसके बाद से तो आप नज़र ही नहीं आते. You've run so far. Now, I've met you. I met you there, and since then I've been following what you've been doing, and I think you do a lot of things. So one is your running journey, which we will talk about, and I'm really inspired by that. And I think a podcast like this is very important for someone like me, like in the stage of my running journey that I am currently. Speaking to somebody like you is just perfect, because you're somebody who started out like us, like me, like everybody who just gets into the world of ultra running, runs longer and longer. But not everybody manages to raise their game to a pretty good level. So I don't want to, I can't, nobody can define what a pretty good level is. True. But we've got some markers, right? So we'll talk about those. So I want to talk about the running journey, but I also want to talk about what you do professionally, how you got here, your early life, all of that, because that'll give us a context and into a peek into the life that you've been living and how you've gotten here. So, I mean, we've covered a little bit of it in the introduction, but why don't you quickly tell the audience what are the 1 million things that you do?
It's always been like this, but I guess my Twitter summary kind of puts it out very nicely. I'd like to say I'm a family man to begin with. I'm a husband, father.
Bring it slightly closer.
Okay,
please.
sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm a husband, father,
Perfect.
Those are two things very important. Family is very important. But besides that, obviously, I'm an entrepreneur by nature. I run an IT services company. I've been doing angel investing for around a decade now. I've invested in a lot of startups in India and abroad, both. Runner now, like you said. Also, not many people know this, and I didn't tell you, I'm a big metalhead. So I love heavy metal.
Wow.
That's probably my first... my wife put it very nicely. I go through these phases. Every 2-3 years, I pick up something and then I kind of pick it up like that. So heavy metal was first, keeping fish was second, bird photography was third, running seems to be the fourth. I forgot in between, art collecting was the fifth. So I'm on to the fifth right now. Running takes a lot of my time. So that's the maximum I've been doing.
So it's one thing to do so many things, and it's another thing to do all of them so well. Because even your photography, like the pictures that we see on Instagram and Facebook, wherever you post them, it's amazing. Those are stunning pictures. It takes quite a bit because it takes effort to get good at something, right? And when you're doing so many things, how does one make time for all of these things?
So you're absolutely right. I sometimes feel it's like I'm a jack of all trades, but maybe a master in none still. But how I've been doing this is I think I obsess over everything. So when it started with music, I really dug deep into the bands, members, style, genre. I mean, I did a lot of homework, and there was no internet back then, right? Ditto for when it came to art. And so, I just do this lot of homework. I keep searching, I keep reading. If somebody shares something, I will look at it. Even yesterday, I remember somebody shared this stats video on, stats on sub-3 runners for UK. 3-minute thing. But I really enjoy looking into these data points, gives me a lot of inputs. But I do feel obsessive. I do a lot of homework. I don't realize it, but I have realized this thing, that I end up doing a lot of review, reading, seeing here, there.
You do, and you keep sharing that with me also sometimes. So I'm pretty sure you have a close network of people that you keep sharing those with as well.
I feel sometimes I violate that line also, too many forwards, but I feel everything is really important.
No, exactly. There's been not a single forward that I felt. I mean, sometimes I don't read it until I have time, because I want to give it the due time and attention.
True. But it's homework, Jay. Even for bird watching, eventually it gets to that where, I like to read up about, if I see something new, I'll try and read about the habitat if I want to take a picture. So, now it becomes more like a time-saving strategy. You might spot it somewhere here at around this time. More probability. Essentially, birds are wild animals. You can't predict. You can't pinpoint exactly with guarantee it's going to turn up somewhere.
But are there certain patterns? Is there a method to the whole thing? Like, is there?
Yes. So
do you? I'm sure you get better with time.
For
predicting.
True. It's not only this. What I realized is the more you end up doing. So what happens is, when I started my business, I would actually spend, let's say, 12 hours sitting in office, right? And eventually, this is something I tell people, and it took me 15 years to figure that out, you are your own biggest hindrance in business also. We feel I should do it all myself, right? And you end up kind of doing everything yourself, and that limits the growth of the business to begin with. So now I feel I have so many of these other hobbies. I actually spend high quality time on what I do. So it might be 4 hours only in a day, but extremely productive 4 hours where I actually sit down and, you know, things move much more faster now, you know, because I know I have that window only, so I have to make the best of it, right? So that's something that's helped a lot. Having so many hobbies at a time, you know, you do want to, but I try and now keep it if I'm doing something at that point, I won't jump into something else. If I want to read something, I'll open and keep it aside for a specific time slot, for example. But I won't kind of jump in there. You know, I just try and make sure whatever I have open in front of me, I kind of get that out of the way. By nature also, I feel I'm like that kind. I like to jump from one thing to another. You know, it's just who I am. You know, I might get bored or something, and I might look elsewhere. So that kind of helps me also, because if I read something for 5 minutes and I come back to whatever I'm doing, I feel energized, you know.
That's great. I mean, I think there's no one way, one method or one style that fits all. It's whatever makes you most productive and whatever makes you feel more energized.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How old are you, sir, if you don't mind me asking?
47.
47.
I know. I get this a lot. Maybe you should put a picture out there. So past 2-3 years now, it's like all the white hair, and I'm very dead set against using dyes and all that. So just old school. So I've got all kinds of jokes within my own family, you know. Everybody else in my family looks young, so half the people. So I must tell this funny anecdote, you know, since we're doing. I run a lot at Sukhna Lake in Chandigarh. That's like the place to go. So I remember one day, you know, 2-3 friends we were running, and you know, some nutritionist, she was also running. So this guy knew her. He stopped and did an introduction, and you know, friends being friends, they do that little bit of fingering also. So he says, "Oh, this guy is a legend." So he's pointing at me and saying, and the nutritionist also says, "Yeah, he's a legend. I've seen him running here so many times." So now, for that 1 second, I really went to Mount Everest high. Okay, acha, legend. And then she tells me, "I've seen you running with your granddaughters." I said, "Nahi, yaar, they're my daughters, not my granddaughters." So reality struck in 1 second. I said, "No, they're my daughters, not my granddaughters." Conversation, you know, ends now. I'm going to go run only now. So
no, I mean the grays are graceful. I have a lot of grays, but I've been coloring my hair and beard for a very long time, and I'm now slowly moving away from that. So I do that very less often now. So I am actually getting used to seeing myself with a lot more grays. So जैसे मुझे आदत पड़ जाएगी, धीरे-धीरे फिर दुनिया को भी पड़ जाएगी. Then I'll stop completely. So I'm easing myself into it. Wonderful, sir. No, the reason I asked was that how old are your daughters now?
So my elder one's 18, younger one's 15.
Okay. Wonderful. And and you only have 2 daughters, no son, right? I also have an 18-month-old, so I'm very curious to know how long have you been running for?
So I actually started in probably July 2015. Just a little historical thing. I mean, before that, I used to play lawn tennis as a child, so I remember. So
let's do that. I mean, in fact, I was going to start like that, but we've jumped on to the next topic. But let's quickly go back to your childhood, your growing up years. Where were you born? What did you study? Did anything in your childhood or early years have an impact on your life? Were you athletic or something that has stayed with you from that you'd say, looking back, इसका मेरी जिंदगी पे अभी भी बहुत असर है, ऐसा कुछ?
So that's a good question. So I'm born and raised in Chandigarh. I've always been in the city itself throughout my... Chandigarh spoils you that way, but anyways, we'll talk about that later. But I've never been athletic in my life, in all honesty. I have probably till my 40s, I was always a overweight kind of person. Since childhood.
Achha.
Always. I've always been a little round, heavy. What you say, golum volu typical. Always been something like that. I have a younger brother. Both of us used to play lawn tennis as kids at Chandigarh in Sector 10 over here. Okay. So we used to play tennis as kids. But that was probably my first introduction to running, because we used to do rounds over there as part of the fitness drill.
Yeah. You know. Did you have a coach? Because coaches make you do
coaches,
that.
The PE coach used to.
Maybe in my teenage, I did took some cricket coaching for a while, and the coach used to make us run so much. हम लोग बोलते थे कि क्रिकेट का कोच है कि एथलेटिक्स का कोच है यार, क्यों भगाता है इतना? Right.
And I was a bad tennis player as well. The only compliment I remember I ever received was, okay, I don't give up. Right? I would keep running after the ball till I don't. That was the only saving. Maybe that's the only thing I remember. But even then, probably I remember 88. We had this UNICEF run for World Aid or something. You know, I had done a 5K, 10K then, not knowing what it was, but just done it. Post that, throughout my college life, maybe 8-10 times in a year, I would go run at the lake, maybe do those 2-3 kilometers. But I've never been regular about it throughout my life in terms of running, basically. Never.
So 2015, and that was at the age of?
2015, probably 40 midlife crisis.
40.
Right. I remember I went for a vacation, and this was one of those vacations, lots of eating, drinking, and it won't end. And, I kind of came back, and I used to do a little bit of training. Somebody used to come home and train me, and he told me, he says, "Bhaiya, sudhar jao. Agar एक चीज नहीं बंद होगी, सब कुछ बंद हो जाएगा." And so I kind of started going to the lake with a little bit of regularity. ठीक है, and I don't know about these running groups and all. I started going to the lake, but I remember I signed up. Somebody told me, and I signed up for this Delhi half marathon. That time you didn't need a qualification. So in F group I went, and I did it in 2:23, and I really felt good about it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. For a first half marathon.
Good, but now the game is really up, right, in India. I mean, that time 2:23 was decent. And it was just so much, and I felt good. I couldn't walk for 5 days after that. But it was that. So that was my first hook. Post that, till 2017, I did a couple of other runs, but I was not regular the way I am now. It was not regular, on and off, no persistence. And then I did this 100 days challenge, and my elder daughter at that point also signed up.
Nice.
And that kind of introduced me to discipline and regularity. And I remember we were traveling to the US. We even did it at the airport. We kind of switched on and did this walking. We counted the number of steps at the airport, and throughout our trip in the US also, we stayed regular. We never missed one day also. So that was something that kind of taught me about the value of discipline, and got me started.
That's what the 100 days of running challenge does to you, or any streak for that matter. Like even last night, it's ridiculous, especially when you're traveling and you're trying to do a streak. Yesterday I missed doing it in the morning, and then I ended up doing my 5K, starting it at 11:15 in the night in Panchkula. So matlab, streaks make you do that.
I can understand, and it takes a lot of time for the family to understand. But we worked around it, and that kind of taught me the discipline of kind of doing these things. And so that's where I started, and gradually it kept building up in terms of running. It kept kind of adding, so the half became a full, and then
So how does it feel? It's incredible to just imagine from where you were, like थोड़ा बहुत भाग लिया, and then एक half marathon कर ली, 4 दिन तक भाग नहीं पाए. From there, had you ever thought of what you are able to do today?
One more anecdote on that. In 2016, we had gone to Leh. So while visiting Leh, I remember we had gone to Khardungla Pass, and then we went down to Nubra, right?
2015.
16.
Okay.
And summer vacations in June. And while coming back, we had this common driver throughout the trip, and we became friendly, and somewhere it came out, I run a little bit or something, and he said, Leh mein bhi marathon hoti hai. And I still remember then he kind of stopped from where the Khardungla challenge starts. And he said कि जी यहाँ से ना रेस शुरू होती है, ये लोग ले तक भागते हैं. I swear in my head, I'm not making, I thought लोग पागल हैं, who can do this? It's not possible. Okay. And who would know 3 years later I would come back and do that same run. Right. And I just can't get over it. 3 years, and people keep asking me कैसे. It's honestly, I just realize it's just moving one step
नहीं कैसे तो हमें भी नहीं पता लगता. Looking back, actually सच में बहुत ज़्यादा लगता है. जैसे I mean, you and I are ultra runners, so we sort of in our heads, you and I know कि इतनी बड़ी बात नहीं है, कोई भी कर सकता है अगर चाहे तो, है ना, गुस्से तो कर सकता है. But when you stop running for 10 days, आपको खुद को लगने लग जाता है यार ये लोग कैसे करते हैं 100 किलोमीटर कैसे होता है. So, yeah.
It kind of happened then, and I started. That was the gradual. I mean, 2019 was a good year. Like you said, in November we did that 80K, which was my first official kind of long run.
This was 2018.
Hanji, November we did 2000 November. Then I did Comrades in June. And I still remember Masa, I kind of crossed the finish line with 10 minutes to spare, and I was like, oh man, this is...
You've done both up and down, Comrades?
No, so I'm going to go back hopefully this year, because I signed up for 2020 and then COVID
didn't happen, yes.
Hanji. And
okay.
So same year I did Khardungla. So 2019 in my books was a great year because... I did a couple of these big ones which did not seem achievable. I mean, they seemed like dreams for me.
Those were a league changer for you.
That's like a game changer. And then probably in my case, COVID also, because with COVID, when everything kind of shut down, those 2 years, 20, 21, 22, is when I felt even my mileage, for example, used to be around 2,500, 3,000 kilometers per year.
Yeah. Till then.
And so 20, 21, 22, all were around 5,000 plus. Okay. It kind of gradually came in, and then I started, and a lot of it kind of moved to, I still say, 20, somebody told me about this heart rate based training, MAFTONE method. And also, by then, in all honesty, I still say that I was a very average kind of runner because my PBs for everything, even the marathon, my PB unfortunately was 4 hours and 1 second. And it stayed till 1 second, I remember how many times I checked that result. Bhai, isko kisi tarah bhaiya, 2 seconds hata do and it'll become a sub 4.
Sub 4 runner.
Right? And for the half, it was around 140. And so with all the slow running...
100 minutes is still decent. But yeah, okay. I because I want the rest of the podcast to be around running, and I want to know a lot about your journey, how you've managed to get here. But before that, let us quickly talk about your journey as a professional.
Sure.
So you've been running a business, and you've been an investor as well. Tell us a little bit about that. How have you managed to do well in whatever you've been doing? What has been your success mantras, or whatever's been driving you in whatever you're doing?
Sure. So I'm also that way an accidental entrepreneur also, right? Although my father is an entrepreneur himself, but I was an accidental entrepreneur for sure. I was always what you would call during school days decent in studies. Back in the day, getting an 80 plus used to matter. It was unlike
good.
Now.
It was brilliant back then.
So I did, but I was very rudderless. I had no clear-cut ambition or direction in what is it that I want to do. In all transparency, I never had an idea. Maybe because I came from a little bit of I still say privileged background. I couldn't make up my mind. So one thing always used to be, okay, my dad runs this photo studio. I'll take over the family business. That kind of thing. But, and throughout, I remember studies-wise, I was good. My grandfather always used to say, okay, this is the only good guy in studies in our family. Make him an IS officer, But I felt I couldn't study that much, and that was too much. But somewhere, what happened, I did my graduation also in Bachelor's of Science. There also, I remember in college, I did pretty decently. But after that, it kind of stuck. Now what? And I remember... somebody kind of told my parents that there is this computer applications thing, make him do that. And I went for the entrance and I sat down. I had no idea about the questions. So I just kind of went with that thing, acha sare B tick kar do. And this had negative marking.
Okay.
Right? And obviously I didn't make it to the general cut. And then eventually they had this thing called NRI quota. Right? Basically means you buy your seat. Right? In Punjab University, they had this. So I remember a relative flew in, and this is 97, and it was $3,000. It was a lot of money then, right? And I remember first time in my life, my dad says, "Ke beta, pad nahi thoda ja, and don't mess this up, right?" Because it was 3,000 per year, so it was almost like 10 grand, right? It was a lot of money then, and I got into MCA. And for the first 6 months, university, I had a car. So life was really good. Okay, just enjoying. Okay.
Yeah.
eventually, somewhere it happened. I started learning HTML coding, and the World Wide Web had started, and it kind of fascinated me a lot. And one thing led to another. By the second year, we had actually built Punjab University, Chandigarh's first ever website. They had nothing back then. We kind of built it, launched it.
Punjab University's website.
Yes, the very first version was done by me. Me and two other kids from the department. We built it with the HOD, and this is really back in the day. Nothing was there, and we kind of what you see today. We built that first version of, and I also realized part of my entrepreneurial thing kind of started from there, because I got in touch with this local bookseller, and that point with him, again, two of us, we built India's first online book bank. You have to remember, this is 98.
Yeah, but what was it called?
The browser bookstore, and we called it the browser bookshop. So, it had this online where you could borrow books. They would ship it to you anywhere in India.
Got it.
Right. So, and we got a lot of publicity, right? Economic Times, India Today feature. So as a student, it all goes to your head. So I kind of started doing these side gigs as a student itself, building websites for people. And I could bill $50,000. I mean, then. I kid you not, for coding projects, I was charging 2 lakhs. Then, it really, this is part. And I was decent at my exams also, because I eventually finished MCA.
You started enjoying this?
Yes, and I really took to it. I didn't realize it. I got so good at it. My teachers used to, during Vivas, make me sit, and I used to ask questions. To my own classmates, ke, acha batao. Especially. So, we had these outdated technologies and we had the newer. So I only picked up the newer stuff. The older stuff I was really bad at. But eventually, even in my MCA, I got a first division with distinction, top 5 in my class. I got 2 campus placements. I was the only guy placed abroad. Like I said, Chandigarh spoils you. I didn't take anything. I kind of regret that now. Ush time it was like, I joined Tata over here locally, kind of started my, 2000 was where the .com boom was at its peak. So I also got placed in the US, got the visa, but then the bubble kind of burst and I left Tata. Then I worked with a small startup out of here for 2.5 years. Went to the largest company at that point in this region called Quark as a product manager. Eventually, it came back, the entrepreneurial bug. I was married by then, and my wife and dad kind of nudged me. He says,
then
what have you got to lose? What
have
you got to lose if you do your own business? And I kind of then started Gracell Technologies in 2004.
2004. So you've been doing this for a good 15, 18 years,
18 years,
right?
18, 19 years.
And when did you start investing?
The investing also kind of happened because of my wife and kids. They ended up meeting somebody at school. This couple had shifted from the US to India. And the kids got to know each other. Then the wives got to know each other. And then his wife came over home one day. She saw.
मैंने सुना ये बड़ी networking होती है बच्चों के स्कूल जाने के बाद.
So she actually saw all the books lying at her place. She says, she says, you're going to, my husband, no, you must meet him. So I met the guy. He was a 3x entrepreneur then only in the healthcare. And he had actually come to India for the first time to set up his own fund.
Okay.
Right. And he
set up his own fund.
He had his own fund with his own money he made. So he kind of then put me into Indian Angel Network. And I still remember the first investment we did was this online radio channel, called Radio Float. It's dead now. But Radio Float, the whole concept was take anything which is non-Bollywood. It could be Carnatic music, it could be heavy metal, it could be rock, it could be tribal music, anything which is non-commercial Bollywood music.
Got it.
And I still remember, reluctance to hoti when you cut the check, and money is money. It was just the first check was 3 lakhs. But I was very reluctant. So he kept telling me, my pet name's Donnie. He said, Donnie, think of it as your contribution to the arts. If nothing else, now you have chipped in towards the arts. You're fond of art collecting. And you love heavy metal. Na? Think of it as your contribution. Take the plunge. So I took the plunge. And this company was raising 25 lakhs then. And the list came out. And I see one name over there now, which gave me a lot of Rajan Anandan. So Rajan Anandan is like the gold standard. And he was heading Google then. He's now a senior guy in Sequoia. So, so I said, chal yaar, theek hai. Maybe if he's taken that bet. I had no idea. So this is again one of the things where I taught myself over years.
Okay.
I started following people. I started looking at what they do, joined these networks. Then eventually 2015, we started Chandigarh Angel Network, 6-7 of us, local guys kind of. And I remember we were the first investors in biryani by kilo.
Oh,
right. So,
okay. What are the other investments that you've done which have done really well?
So the ones that do well, not many people know about. I had
जो famous वाले हैं वो return नहीं देते.
Exactly, it works like that. They give you publicity but no return. My first unicorn is this company called DealShare. So DealShare. Yeah. So this was my first unicorn. But over years now, you end up kind of building your own thesis. You kind of start looking. And early stage, you can't tell. You're pretty much backing the founder, right? You're not. The ideas will change. But I've got a lot of interesting. I've got space tech. This company is doing really well now, called Agnikul. So they're sending out these 3D printed rockets in space. So they're doing really well. So now it's very diversified. I've done aquaculture. Just last year we did our first liquor kind of thing, this hard seltzer called Barney's. So they have now launched in Delhi, Chandigarh. They're available.
What sensor? Hard sensor.
Hard seltzer. So it's like seltzer is just tonic, essentially sparkling water, tonic water. But this has got 10% liquor content, and it's under 100 calories, so to speak. So you get your kicks and your
low cal alcohol.
Low cal, right? Got quite an interesting portfolio right now.
Nice.
India, it takes a longer time for the market to kind of set in.
Fair enough. So, I mean, we've digressed a little bit. अगर रनर्स सुन रहे होंगे तो वो बोलेंगे रनिंग की बात कब करेंगे ये लोग. सो वील गेट इनटू दैट, बट बिफोर मैं थोड़ी देर और उन लोगों को होल्ड पे रखूंगा, बिकॉज दिस इज रियली इंटरेस्टिंग एंड नॉट एंड आई कांट हैव दिस कॉन्वर्सेशन विद एवरीबडी. व्हाइल वी आर ऑन द सब्जेक्ट ऑफ योर जर्नी, आर्ट कलेक्शन, आई वांट टू टॉक अबाउट दैट फॉर अ ब्रीफ मिनट. आई वांटेड टू नो, एक तो आधी दुनिया को पता ही नहीं है, मुझे खुद अभी बहुत रिसेंटली पता लगा है कि आर्ट कलेक्शन नाम की भी कोई चीज़ होती है और आर्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट नाम की कोई चीज़ होती है कि लोग आर्ट खरीदते हैं, उसमें इन्वेस्ट करके रखते हैं और उसको फिर महंगा बेच देते हैं, बाद में उसकी वैल्यू बढ़ती है ओवर टाइम. आई हैड नो आइडिया. नाउ दिस इज friend of mine who's actually a relative of mine, one of my best friends. He has recently gotten into arts and all he can talk about is arts all the time and investing in arts, and he's investing in art as well, and he's helping people buy as well. So, but the way he speaks of it is like this is a gold mine. Like whoever gets into this is going to be the richest person in the world. So how कितना सच है इसमें? How does this work?
I see he's new into it, so the passion is there. I've been doing this for around 15 odd years now, collecting basically. When I started in 2008, and I definitely, it appreciates. There is no denying that. But you know what? It's not a liquid asset. You can't just say, because if you are in a desperate sale, it's going to be a fire sale. You're not going to make money, you're going to lose money.
Okay.
Right? But art eventually, there is no doubt it appreciates.
But strategically, is there a business that can be made out of it?
It's an upcoming. India that way has lagged behind the Western world or even the Asian markets.
Yeah, because the numbers he throws at me, इतने की थी और इतने की बिकी auction में is
very true. So look at the auction houses. India's biggest auction house is Saffron Art, and I remember we got the founder a couple of years back to speak. We do this flagship event, entrepreneurship event called Taiko in Chandigarh, and I was the president then. So since I was the president, I really wanted to get these offbeat investment kind of things also, highlight offbeat entrepreneurs, people who have been doing this kind of stuff, and they've been doing it for almost 2 decades now, right? It's definitely a market, but you also have to understand it, right? And it's like I keep repeating, it's not liquid. You have to wait strategically. It can't be something, it's not like a plot of land where you go out and sell it and you get me. You have to wait for the correct buyer. So you have to play it long term. If you can kind of hold on, then sure, you can build it gradually. I have always still collected, not from an investment standpoint. I always buy what I like. Right? ठीक है. eventually everything in life goes up only, which is fine. But always, because now I also look at like something you have to put on your walls. Now you have to look at it every day. So you have to like it also. Now you can't just put it, how investment hai, badi achhi lag rahi hai. Right. So I have this thing. But for me, arts and, these artists and startups, it's like almost parallel, worlds, right?
Yes.
I see these artists struggle so much. The money actually, unfortunately, the artists never make. It's the collectors of the galleries that end up making, right? If you today look at India's greats, the ones who actually, they almost all of them died in abject poverty. It is now the collectors who are making money off it.
Correct. So the artist still does not make much.
Unfortunately, did not. Some make it to a certain
Some
point.
big names
yes,
do.
Yes. And the funny thing is...
But how, you just mentioned something interesting. Startups and artists, how are they similar?
It's like parallel the struggle. It's so real.
Okay.
It's like one artist will become a Hussain, right? The unicorn concept, right? All of them are not going to.
Achha, journey,
but the struggle, the journey, it's always real.
Both have the hustle.
The hustle.
Yes.
The correct word is the hustle. Right? It's just hustle bhi hai, struggle bhi hai, they go through these ups and downs and you realize ki theek hai yaar. I admire the artist for staying in the game,
Yeah,
if
exactly.
it were me, I would leave the game.
I was going to say that. At so many points, and the artists struggle with this so much. Even the startups, जहाँ पे call आ जाती है between choosing following the heart or the head. दोनों में से एक करना पड़ता है.
So, it's tough, I feel these artists are like ultra-runners. They don't know the meaning. Keep going on. Ke chalta rahe bhaiya. Someday I'm going to kind of...
Ultra-running has so many parallels in life, no?
Very
so many fields. Yeah.
So the one thing that comes to mind is, remember, in 2003, M.F. Hussain actually came home.
Achha.
And this is before he was shunted out of India. So when he left India, right? And he was here, and I had no idea.
Here in this house?
Yeah. For dinner.
Wow.
And he used to sit in my dad's studio in the late 70s. So the guy knew everything, We have a coffee house right next to the studio. Even in the coffee house, he knew the placement. Ki ye wala poster idhar laga tha ye. And he had come for a charity auction, and a lot of folks told my dad, buy the painting. But he said, "No, this is too..." Even then, that Hussain canvas in 2003 was 15 lakhs. That's a lot of money, right?
Now it must be in crores then.
Yes, the zero.
Is it
added? Yeah.
Zeros have been added.
the zero is the appreciation, right?
Yeah.
But that's there. Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful, sir. Thank you for taking us through this journey. But I can't just get this out of my head. You're the only 47-year-old I know who's a metalhead. Are you a Metallica fan?
Metallica is like an understatement.
So who are the ones? Slipknot?
Yeah. So big. So you have to understand. My first exposure to metal was when I was in grade 10, 1992. So that's the time the Black Album came out, and then grunge kind of became big. Nirvana.
Have you seen any of these metal bands live?
I saw Korn live in Delhi. Since by then I was an entrepreneur, and so I took the most expensive ticket to get close to the band.
Nice.
Okay, and I kind of met them briefly. Metallica got cancelled in Delhi.
So I was there. I bought the Metallica. By the way, abhi thoda kam, but in लगा लो 35 की उम्र तक, अभी 3 साल से मैं कम सुन रहा हूँ, बट 35 की उम्र तक आई वॉज अ बिग टाइम मेटल हेड. मेटालिका की मैंने टिकट खरीदी और अपने ऑफिस में सबको डेली दिखाता था, देखो मेटालिका की टिकट है मेरे पास. एंड देन द डे कम्स एंड देन देयर दंगा हो जाता है वहाँ पे एंड फाइट्स. आई वाज लाइक बैंग इन द मिडल. आई वाज वाचिंग ऑल ऑफ दिस. स्टेज पे था, मैं लोगों को रोक रहा था कि यार तोड़ो मत चीज़ें, मे बी दे विल कम बैक टुमारो. लाइक बट लोगों ने स्टेज पे चढ़ के स्टेज डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिया. आई वाज जस्ट सो हार्ट ब्रोकन. It was crazy.
No, so now the Indian scene is coming up. There's this band Bloody Wood. I'm such a big fan.
Bloody Wood.
So I'm like a big time fan. So heavy metal is still. So when I started, and I still listen to when I'm running alone, I always have a headphone on, right? And it's only heavy metal, right? I mean, I keep choosing. Acha,
Nice.
But that's like my. Go. And I still stay abreast with what's happening to a certain level. I know these are new bands. I should check them out.
In the Indian scene.
Even Indian and abroad. So I still stay. I stay enough.
Nice.
I would say I'm clued.
Okay. Great, sir. ठीक है. So without further ado, let's talk about running. ठीक है. So what makes me very interested in your running journey is that you started out like I mentioned in the beginning. You started out like most of us who just went longer. Most people can do. मतलब जब आप दौड़ना चालू करते हो तो आप धीरे धीरे लंबा लंबा दौड़ सकते हो. Does not matter. You can cross a marathon. You can do an ultra marathon. 50K हो जाता है. 80K भी कर लोगे. आप 100K भी कर लोगे अपना पहला. कोई इतनी बड़ी बात नहीं है. बट हर कोई उससे आगे नहीं जाता. लाइक नॉट एवरीबडी गेट्स रियली फास्टर एट दीज टाइमिंग्स. You have observed over the years, you've improved your timings and you've improved your running distances as well at the same time. Why I'm having this conversation with you in particular? देखो हम सबको लगता है कि मैंने तो क्या ही खास किया. आपने रात को मेरे को फ़ोन करके यही बोला कि ये क्यों कर रही है पॉडकास्ट वगैरह. तो क्योंकि आपने जो किया है आपको कभी लगता नहीं है कि आपने कोई बहुत बड़ा काम किया है या कुछ है. यू विल नेवर बी हैप्पी विद वेयर यू आर. यू विल प्रॉब्ली कॉन्स्टेंटली वांट टू स्ट्राइव फॉर बेटर. बट you're right now training to you've just recently qualified for Spartathalon. You've not been, नंबर नहीं आया आपका ड्रॉ में, बट जो क्वालिफिकेशन क्राइटेरिया था, you've met that, है ना? You've just met that. उससे पहले भी you were striving for that in border ultra when you were doing 100 miles where you were a DNF. We'll talk about that. So now you've got your eyes on Spartathalon. You've not done it yet, I know that, but you got your eyes there and you've just met the qualification criteria, which हर कोई नहीं सोच सकता है उसके बारे में ना. यू हैव टू गेट टू दैट पॉइंट. इस लायक आप बनते हो पहले कि आप क्वालिफिकेशन क्राइटेरिया मीट करते हो. डज नॉट गारंटी कि आप स्पार्टा फिनिश कर लोगे. स्पार्टा अलग ही गेम है. आप अभी तो ट्रेनिंग चालू होगी, बट यू हैव बिकम गुड इनफ टू स्टार्ट ट्रेनिंग फॉर स्पार्टाथलॉन. जस्ट सी हाउ मेनी रनर्स इन इंडिया हैव डन दैट. लाइक हैंडफुल, राइट? हैंडफुल. सो मेरे हिसाब से इट्स अ प्रीटी बिग गेम. मेरे को लगता है कि कॉमरेड्स है. मुझे लगता है कोई भी कॉमरेड्स कर सकता है. 2-4 साल की अच्छी रनिंग के बाद कर सकते हो आप. 89 किलोमीटर्स 90 किलोमीटर्स आप फिनिश कर लोगे. बट जिस दिन इंसान 246 किलोमीटर भागने लायक ही हो जाता है ना, फॉरगेट द टेरेन, फॉरगेट द हीट, फॉरगेट द हिस्ट्री एंड द एंटायर ट्रैवल एंड एवरीथिंग, उन सबको भी निकाल दो तो 240 किलोमीटर भागने लायक भी इंसान हो जाता है. तो वो अलग ही लीग हो जाती है. दिस इज़ वेयर यू आर हेडिंग टूवर्ड्स. सो मुझे ये जानना है, हाउ डिड दिस ट्रांजिशन हैपन? एक तो आपने मेरे ख्याल से 2020 में एक पिवटल पॉइंट था जहाँ पे कोविड हुआ. आई रिमेंबर हैविंग अ फ़ोन कॉन्वर्सेशन विद यू जब आप मुझे माइलेजेस बता रहे थे कि आपकी 500-600 इस तरह की माइलेजेस चल रही है वहाँ पे. वेयर इज़ वेरी इंस्पायर्ड. बट यू हैड कंटिन्यूड डूइंग दैट फॉर मैनी मंथ्स आफ्टर दैट ऑल्सो. आपने चालू रखा वो, और तब जाके 2022 के आसपास में you've started becoming better at all these timings, right? So just talk us through what has happened since 2020 and how your journey from there to the Sparta qualification of 190 kilometers. Isme we'll talk specifically about your border DNF and we'll talk about the recent stadium run where you qualified also.
Sure.
ठीक है?
So that's a tough one, but 2020-22, you're absolutely right. It has been a game changer because, like I was mentioning before, the first thing that my running was actually plateauing. So I was not improving, right? The first thing that I started doing, because in 2020, you have to also understand there was hardly any event, right? So there was none of that. Locally, now it happens. Any event you go to, now they keep expecting that you will go and kill it. You can't do that. You kill yourself, basically.
Yeah.
Every event, you can do it for a year, but somewhere something will get injured and you're going to lose. So the first thing that I did now, which really worked for me, was running slow. I kind of took this Maffetone method. I was 45 then. So it simply became 180 minus your age. And your heart rate should be 135.
All your training was between 135 and 145?
I started slowing down.
Okay.
And trust me, it was really hard.
Yeah, I've tried doing it. Maffetone is very hard.
You're walking. You start walking. You say, hey, what the hell, man? But I had nothing to lose then. I said, what the hell? Nah, I'll just keep the mileage up. So this is like, now you call it base training, right? Okay, the mileage was up, but the heart rate was always somewhere in that range. I kept it at that. And gradually I started noticing, it was probably towards 2021, right? when I breached the 100-minute mark in a half without practice. I had done no interval training. I had done no tempo runs. It was simply I went for the event and I was shocked myself.
कितने टाइम की बेस ट्रेनिंग थी जिसमें आपने सब 100 किया?
I've been doing it now now to every run I go out, my normal runs are all those I just look at my HR. I can tell by feel also now, but it is somewhere in that you kind of start. See, when I started, my pace was almost 7.5. Now I feel I can do 6:15 where I don't have to stress myself out. Right? I've also noticed is
what you call an all day pace जिस पे आप पूरा दिन भाग सकते हो. पहले
easy
7:30 था, अभी it's around
easy.
6:15 types.
Yeah. So that really worked for me. Mileage was high, no doubt. For me, relative. See, mileage is also relative. Now you notice any pro or semi-pro kind of marathon runner in the US or Europe, they're all logging 100-mile week kind of, especially during practice. Correct. When they're aiming, right? Yeah. I still don't feel I've done any such week during practice where I've got to 100 miles, right? But I started going for 100K per week. That became my benchmark.
Pretty much consistently.
Hanji. So the target became 52 weeks in a year, 50 to 100 kilometers, that 5,000 kind of.
Right.
That kind of became the thing. Okay. There would be variation. Some weeks, you know, you're resting, recovering, whatever, might be 40, but some weeks were higher. But that kind of became the average ke theek hai, let's start. Obviously I would build into certain things, build off, right? That happened. 2020 is also when I did my first 100K, like you said. I had not breached that barrier then. And when we went in also, we said, Acha, a good benchmark would be a sub 12. Let's do it. And there were 3-4 of us local folks and we did sub 12.
Where did you do it?
We just ran in Chandigarh itself on our own. It was a virtual kind of thing, some flag run. Tejinder
was
there, right?
Of course, right.
So we did that. And that became the first. And then gradually I kind of moved towards the stadium run. I had a lot of failures then also because the first stadium run started well again, but for no reason. There was no injury, anything. I just couldn't keep going round and round and round. And 6 hours later, I said, bhai, this is too much. And the second thing was, it was in Panchkula at home. Your mind, I still feel it's not physical, it's all mental. I honestly believe that. After 6 hours, it is all mental. And that thing, acha yaar, I stay right here. I have to just drive for 20 minutes, I'll be home. I'll go back and sleep.
Yeah.
And it happened. So when I went to Delhi for my first stadium in December 2021,
you came back
I made sure, bhaiya, I'm not going to go in. I didn't even have a room that night. Jana hi nahi. We are going to do this and walk out. Yeah. And I told the guy. And we went in there also with a benchmark, okay, let's try and do 100 miler in 24 hours. I remember I got to 100 miles by 19 hours. It was pretty much downhill after that. But now that feeling, okay, I've got to my target. Eventually the watch said 183. The result said 176. But, I didn't want more. I remember people were pushing me, go for 200 too. I said, nahi bhaiya. I came with this. It's so much of a mental game.
Yeah.
But that base, I still, if anybody wants to do this, it's your base basically. I still feel your base controlled. And every runner is different. My formula, but your kind of pace and all that would depend upon what works for you.
So to go faster, longer, longer though you can go. To go faster also, longer, you still have to do base training.
So I started following a lot of... the only good thing I learned from my business is now over here, I didn't undermine myself. I always went and benchmarked against the best. I would look, acha, India record kya hai, world record kya hai. I mean, and I would look at their heart rate basically. I would kind of look at these guys. And
on Strava?
Yes, I would keep noticing. Maybe I'm just this data guy. People come up to me all the time, data. And I keep churning out these weird stats out of my head. Acha, aise karke dekh lete hain. Okay, this should be our thing. And I keep looking. So I noticed one thing for sure. The younger lot, guys like Vipul, Danny, even when they did the 100K record in Germany, and I noticed their training. For them, they can maintain a heart rate of 135, 140 and still run a pace of, let's say, quarter to 5 minutes per kilometer. Whereas a guy like me will shoot to 160 by then, 165 easily.
Right.
So it's all relative basically. Yeah. But the idea is that HR training is, we get that 80-20 rule.
Yes.
80% needs to be easy and 20% needs to be hard. And hard means really hard.
So have you been doing really hard training also?
I will... in all honesty, no. I started doing a little bit in January when I first did my first set of intervals, and it does help a lot. And I say that. So I will basically for comrades this time. I thought, rather than simply just doing running, the focus will change to a little more strength and a little more what should I say, intelligent training, if I may. Because all of this has been, see, when you run, you learn.
Yeah,
there is no denying. So that learning is there. I want to now kind of put it to use myself.
Have you been doing strength training?
Yes, I've been doing that. I do it a couple of times a week. I've been doing that for 4-5 years.
4-5 years?
And so we do this CrossFit where we go out in the open and kind of exercise.
So is it the same Skechers Gulia's club?
No, this is another group. We've all been, almost everybody in Chandigarh has been there.
Okay.
Some part, but I've stayed kind of consistent. And it helps a lot. Now I tell everybody, either go to the gym if the gym works for you. But simply running is not going to help.
Correct. Yeah.
So, just to kind of, so all of this kind of gradually led into one thing kind of leads. The first one that I kind of got to was when we went back for the Silk Route. So that for me probably was
of course. I forgot about the Silk Route. Yes.
Silk Route was the big one for me.
So for those who may not be aware, although I'm assuming it's mostly runners who are listening to this one at the moment, but a lot of people, let's hope that non-runners are also listening to this. So Silk Route is a 122 kilometers ultra marathon that happens in Leh region, and it starts from
Nubra. It starts from Nubra and goes right up to Leh city.
Yeah,
and this was the first edition basically.
Yeah, and you're running with the oxygen, which is one third of the regular oxygen
40 to 50%.
40 to 50% oxygen levels, and extreme temperatures as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like you live one lifetime in one day. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. So I've heard so much about that. I mean, I would love to do it this year. आप जा रहे हो इस साल? अब कर लिया तो अब नहीं करना?
नहीं, let's see ना. I'm still betting, like you said ना, if my name comes in the Sparta draw, then I might go for a smaller thing too. But that'll be the Sparta's
it's the same
end of
month.
September. No, end of September. This is first week of September.
Right. So, pretty much. Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about the 122. How was that run? So this was the biggest one for you. You were saying till that time.
It's the toughest. Distance wise, I'd done more. I'd done a 24-hour run before, but in terms of toughness, this really. And I had done the Khardungla also, and I thought, I remember they did a bite there, and when I was sitting in Chandigarh and training, I said, "Boss, 16 hours. I'll do this in 16." And I had no idea. So when you land in Leh, and this is my third trip to Leh. I'd done the full in 2018, Khardungla in 2019.
Okay.
And I landed in Leh na. As soon as you take your first breath, the 16 became 19 seems like a more reasonable kind of target. Yeah. And then after a couple of days, a rest when you run, then it came to 20 mein kar denge.
What was the cutoff?
22 hours.
22.
And when we were traveling and when we got to Khardung, because honestly, last time I'd been in 2016 as a tourist. So even I didn't know what Leh was. And I thought for some reason, I don't know why your mind kind of does this. It plays this trick. I thought those 50 kilometers are flat. And when there were four of us, Amit Gulia, Rakesh Kashyapji, Windy and me, right in that car. And when we went in the car, we were going by car. And when I saw those 50, I said, Bhaiya, kisi tarah khatam ho jaye na. God will be very kind. I kept telling him flat. मैं कहा ये flat तो है नहीं, ये तो चढ़ी जा रही because we were going down obviously at that point. So ये सारा we kept looking, ये चढ़ के आना, चढ़ के
16 छोड़ो, 19 छोड़ो, 20 छोड़ो, खत्म हो जाए.
22 जी, and I remember when we were sitting there, we made these strategies कि अच्छा. So Windy he was doing this for the first time, a longer distance. We had all done something or the other. So
but Win has done 170 odd in stadium.
Acha, I didn't know that. But maybe his first. So we used to say we sat at night strategy. Strategy is something we feel okay. We will break this into chunks of 7 hours. 21 hours is the target. And I remember the race starts. Gulia goes flying the way he flies. And as soon as Gulia went flying, Kashyapji also said, "What the hell?" And then I say,
"What the hell?"
I was like, "Chal rahi hai, let's do this." And I remember the first hour's target was 8 kilometers. And when I saw the watch, I had done 10 in the first hour itself.
Okay.
And I remember overtaking Win at the second kilometer itself. He says, "Sir, plan." मैं कहा यार अभी flow है, चल रही है. And obviously, you pay a price for everything. I remember when I got to Khardum, I paid the price of not
What happened at Khartoum?
I felt that stretch, because I knew that stretch I would do much faster than last time, but I ended up doing much slower.
Oh, why was that?
I just tired out, and also it was all, it was night, you're alone. So this was my first run where I was literally all alone, right? Nobody.
Okay.
Right? Especially since given my wildlife kind of background, I used to think in my head, bhai, if something comes out over here, nobody's going to hear you here or there also, and they're not going to find you also. It's going to drag you away. Full moon night. It was so beautiful also. And it's an experience. I mean, anybody who wants to go for it definitely should do it. It's such a wonderful experience. I mean, words cannot do justice to the beauty. If you enjoy nature, it's just thrilling. Yeah. And I still feel maybe those hill runs, because of the beauty, I've never DNF'd there. I've done that so many times on ground, but in the hills, before this podcast, I just think I've never kind of given up there for whatever reason. I have these thoughts. I want to quit. I want to leave. I used to sit down on the side, ke chhod dunga. But I never gave up. Eventually the sun would come out somewhere and you would keep kind of chucking.
So what do you do when that noise comes in your head, says, chhod de aaj?
It's really hard, and I say, especially during the stadium runs, when I have this home advantage, I know I can walk away like this. And I wrote this also, and I still say this, after 6 hours, it's much more of it's, if not at all 100% mental game than a physical game, because your body kind of adapts. You can move on. It might not be the speed, but at least you can get it done. Yeah. Right. But that thought, and you have these weird thoughts. I remember it was when Silk Route, Thursday night, and I'm thinking, acha, everybody's at home watching Coffee with Karan. You're a fool, running out over here. Who are you going to blame? Then I would say, acha, you're the only one to blame for this.
Stadium mein khas kar ye hota hai. We got so many experiences. There was a stadium run we were doing in Delhi, and Mahesh Tiwari, my friend, it was all it was very cold, and he decided for some reason he decided to quit, and then he came and spoke to me and he said, "Bhai, मीनल नहीं कर रही है ये रन, और अच्छे अच्छे रनर्स हैं दिल्ली के, वो नहीं आए हैं, इतनी धुंध में और ठंड में कौन भागता है, पागल बनती है, चलते हैं घर." मैं 3-4 बार तो उसको मना किया. गुलिया was also running in the same run. So he then spoke with गुलिया. I went to गुलिया. मैं गुलिया यार समझा ले इसको, भाई छुड़वा रहा है, एक तो पहले मुश्किल हुई पड़ी है, 50 किलोमीटर भाग लिए हैं अभी, ठंड बहुत लग रही है 50 के बाद, ये छुड़वा रहा है महेश भाई. He was persistent. तो बाद में थोड़ी देर बाद पता लगा, गुलिया का पूछा मैंने, गुलिया का गुलिया खुद क्विट करके टेंट में बैठा हुआ है. तो हमने तो फिर मैंने भी छोड़ा, बिन्ने ने भी छोड़ा, महेश ने भी छोड़ा, हम सारे छोड़ के बैठ गए.
No, you're absolutely right. In the stadium, even at this Silk Route, it happened at 60, because I thought Gulia's like literally an hour ahead of us, right? And then all of a sudden this car pulls up behind me and Gulia leans. Kya, sir, theek ho ki nahi? And that 1 minute it hits you. But there, maybe, I don't know, in the hills, I just it hit me, but I said, nahi, you keep moving on. Don't kind of give up. And the second thing at that point also, I know whatever gives you your kicks, I felt ki chal, you're second right now, just you and Kashyap ji moving. And I enjoy that. Even during the beginning, they kept saying, because the elites had not started off, they held back those guys. So it was 1, 2, 3, all Chandigarh guys. So I used to get my kicks. Chal, theek hai, all of us.
Bilkul. What time did you finish it in?
Eventually, it was 19 hours, 47 minutes.
That's still pretty good for most of the
I was like the second non-Ladakhi in. So the first guy also was 1920.
Is there a podium category for non-Ladakhis?
It was there till last year. This year they didn't have it.
Kya galat baat hai yaar, ye to cheating ho
gayi. I came in, and the funny thing was, you keep doing when the guy overtook me, somewhere, I said, chal, kuch nahi hota. And I didn't know. I said, chal, you'll be the first third, if nothing else. And then when I got there, what's the guy's name? I said, Jagdeep Singh Mat Teri Aisi. No longer the first third. It was just, you do these, I can't imagine, these weird things come to your head.
Yeah.
But I really finished strong. I remember Hemant was, the last 2-3 kilometers, these Khardungla guys were coming in. I really got pepped. So the last kilometer was probably 5.5 minutes. In the market where everybody was cheering. Then I became rocket. I said,
it's an experience finishing there.
I said, push it, Then I ran really strong. I said, apna wo nahi karna. And you're absolutely right about this quitting thing, because we'll move on to the DNF at Jaisalmer. Again, just a quick background here is you have to realize, you keep asking me, Chandigarh itself for a small city, the bar has been really raised in the ultra community because even till we were checking this stat site, statistic, wherever you have data, out of the top 50 24-hour time, 7 people are from this city.
Achha.
7 of us.
Yeah.
7 of us are from this city. And this top 50. Now, after this stadium run this month, now 7 of us are in the top 30. For a small area, and so the bar is really high over here.
Yeah.
So, since Gulia and Kashyapji and Munish, they did Sparta, everybody was really inspired. And Sparta has this to qualify for Sparta, you have to do a 100-miler in under 21 hours. Or you have to do a stadium 24 hours, 180 kilometers.
Right. Yeah.
So when we went in for Jaisalmer, the whole Chandigarh group went in with that mindset.
Yeah.
Okay, we are going to do this in under 21.
Yeah. So quick, just quickly telling the audience about what Jaisalmer Run is. So this is a race organized by the Hell Race team. It's called the Border 100. It's a 100-mile race that starts in Jaisalmer and finishes at Longewala. Yeah. It is pretty much a flat route until about 100k. But after 100, there are lots of rolling hills, and it starts at 12 in the noon. So before you start your story, I'll finish mine because mine is only 10-second long story. So I was doing 100k and I had trained pretty well, but I was a DNF at that race. I quit at 30 kilometers because I had viral fever 2-3 days before the race. So it was just that. इसमें मेरी कोई ups and downs वाली कहानी नहीं है, इतना ही है. But I quit at 30 and then I crewed a little bit here and there on the route, and I was going in the car with the crew team, and we found Jauhar sir at around 80 kilometers mark, somewhere close to 80 kilometers. You were going really strong till then. And when we met you, that's when you had thrown up like 3-4 times, I think. वहाँ से आपको फिर हमने finally आप गाड़ी में बैठे. You gave up there.
Basically, wrong strategy, started out too fast as usual. The first half, a sub 2 in that kind of weather was a big no-no.
Achha, so you did a sub 2?
I didn't realize, actually. My thing is I stopped looking at the watch. I don't look at the watch. Kind of get. And I should have probably started at 6.5 pace, 7 minutes pace, easy. But I went out too fast. By 30, I was already cramping. And, by 40 was the first. I threw up twice at somewhere around the 40 and somewhere later around 60. The 60, it was bad because everything kind of came out. But I guess we were obsessing too much on time, and we had all kind of decided, okay, our targets are going to be, we get to the 50k checkpoint at around 6 hours, and we do this at this, with that whole goal of kind of doing the race in around 20 odd hours.
So this guy Anmol was also, you were saying when we sat in the bus, he was saying,
So, and he kept moving. And the funny thing is, you have to realize, I again saw this later. The 100-mile guys were running, leave aside the army guys who won the 50k. We were running faster than everybody else. Yeah. Throughout the race.
100-mile guys were running ahead of the 100k guys.
And everybody, we should have, I felt I should have run a more consistent race. I could have got stronger towards the end, but I kind of, and this is where your DNF thing happens, right? Anmol was struggling. I remember Virinder was struggling. Gulia gave up first at 20, but chalo at 20, that thought of giving up does not enter your mind. So, he was injured. So he said, chalo, leave it at that. And, I remember when there was this guy running next to me. I forgot his name. He had just thrown up in front of me. This is after at 80, 82.
That's Vivek Gulia who stopped with you, I think.
So he says, kya kare, sir? I say, I can't. For me, it was not about, and I regret that now. I could have easily finished in under 24 hours, even given all my circumstances. But my mind by then had pretty much kind of locked, 21 is not going to happen. Chhod do.
Yeah.
I now kind of, and we had a miserable time the 3 weeks after the race. We just couldn't get over it. Why did we give up?
So amazing. That's what I want to talk about. Because processing DNF. So DNF is a failure. DNF is did not finish, right?
Yeah.
It's a failure of some kind, at least.
It is.
Right? Now, I personally struggled with my DNF also for multiple weeks after the race. I found it very difficult to, because एक तो मेरे दिमाग में था कि ठीक है, my health was not good. From health point of view, I'm pretty sure it was a good decision. But one voice had said, even if I had, because I'd done 30 kilometers in close to 3 hours, like even if I'd just walked the rest of the distance, I could have finished it within the cutoff. Why didn't you walk the rest of it? So failure, मेरे को तो बहुत दिनों तक दिमाग में रहा वो. How did आपका कैसा रहा, or how did you deal with it? What did you learn from it?
So here's the thing. We had this group, WhatsApp group. Me, Rakesh Kashyap, Anmol and Varinder, right? And Varinder, me and Anmol were all DNF. And these guys were behind me, right? So the fun, when I gave up, I still didn't tell anybody. I simply requested, like you said,
मुझे पता है आप हम लोग वहीं वेट कर रहे थे 100K पे. You said बताना मत किसी को भी, क्योंकि वो भी influence हो जाएंगे. Influence हो जाएंगे.
But I remember Gulia was probably going up or down. Varinder asked him, Munish sir किथे हैं? In Punjabi. He said, उन्होंने छोड़ दी. He said, चलो. He said, and then he tells us, अच्छा पीछे जाओ, and I'm speaking in Punjabi because that's
please do.
He said, पीछे जाओ, अनमोल नो भी लेना है, कि वो wait कर रहा है, right? And I wrote about this also because the thing was, it's like a ripple effect then. You know, one guy goes, second guy goes, third guy. I remember there were 2 first timers from Chandigarh, Sandeep Kakkad and Surinder Gulia. I didn't tell. They are called to ask me that. I know if I tell them that, it's going to break their race. They asked me, he said, "आप किधर हो?" I just said, "हाँ, मैं 83, 84 पे हूँ. मैं चल रहा हूँ. You know, आप चलते रहो. Right? And you know, at that point, you rationalize, ठीक है. Even when we sat in the bus also, it didn't sink in. But next day it hit hard. And in that group, the 3 of us really had a very tough time processing it. We couldn't get over it. We tried a lot of stuff. In fact, it hit me so hard. The event happening on the 19th in Bangalore, right? That was earlier happening in Delhi in January. मैंने तो वही देखना शुरू कर लिया कि I need redemption somehow. You know, I need to kind of process this. But वही है कि you know it became.
But वो fling की तरह हो जाता है. अब अभी आपका breakup हुआ है, तो उसको पहले process होने दो. अभी आप दूसरे पे jump करोगे तो आप you probably won't do justice to anything.
And you're right. But you know, it was eventually I got over it. ठीक है. And you have to understand the. Unfortunately, everybody is wired differently also. You know, I look at a runner like Rakesh Kashyap. I've never seen him DNF, right? But he did at Silk Route because his health was so bad, right? You know, the oxygen conditions, right? These are people I look up to mentally. Okay, these are guys who don't quit, right? It's simply the word does not exist. And it's become a little harder. I know ultra runners, people call us foolish. You know, your health, this, that. Any external person would call you that. Okay, it is happening. But the thing then becomes, we understand our body ourselves. We know that this actually, in your case, for example, if I were in your shoes, I would have left the side of the wall. But it's, you know, fever, recovery, you are already weak, you can get a second kind of. In our case, I don't have the answer. People vomit also, I vomited, so it's okay. And people get cramps also. But I think my biggest point at that point was this obsession with doing it under 21 hours. You know, that became like a bhoot. Speed वाली बात कि you need to get it out.
आपको प्लान बी गलत टर्म है. प्लान बी नहीं, मतलब एक, but you should be willing to adapt to the situation. Be willing to be humbled by the course.
You have to understand, every day cannot be your day. This question was also put when I finished the camera. You know, they took a bite. You've done Silk Route, right? You didn't leave that. Why have you left this? You know, chalo, on paper, theory, whatever. I'm not saying any race is easy. But if you could do that, you could have just walked. Same thing, you could have just walked and done it in under 24 hours. You know, cutoff is still far away.
Correct.
You have enough time. You have 28 hours, right? But, you know, your mind, God knows what goes through at that point. And then it starts rationalizing. You know, one reason, acha, isne bhi to chhod hi diye, chal. Your mind rationalizes So which is why I say, your mental training, you need far more fortitude, I guess, to kind of go through this. And which is what led up to the stadium run also. Again, you know, I mean, in my books, I had a perfect start for the first 12 hours, 112 kilometers done.
Wow, that's so.
This really nice.
So moving on from Jaisalmer to the stadium run, Toughman Stadium run that you just recently did, in which you qualified for, you met the qualification criteria for Sparta. You ran, you were doing a 24-hour race. And you ran the first 12 hours and you covered 112
My watch said, so I'm just telling you the watch stat, probably the original might be 108, but the watch stat was 112, whatever.
Okay.
So at that point, you keep looking at your watch for it. Because it's so much of a mental thing. Great, you're on good pace. You're running to that 9 kilometers per hour. 12 nines are 108. You've got 112 thing. And same thing, it starts at 4, you're on to 4 in the morning. And, for in my case, the shit literally hit the roof. It was, first I start getting this ache in my right knee.
ये कब हो रहा है 112 के बाद हो रहा है?
हाँ जी उसके ये आ गया. Then shin में left में भी आना शुरू हो गया. And then obviously once the pain sets in, the pain होती है, I'm not saying, but ये new वाली थी थोड़ी. And my mind now starts saying कि भैया okay. It's okay. You are hurting. Let it be. I say those 6 hours, my crew, which was Anmol, and he being another ultra runner of quality, right? He did not let me give up. He kept telling me, sir, walk. Keep walking. Don't stop. Walk. So the pain got a little worse because then, I said, no, I can't do this. I'm not going to. I sat down. He got a physio immediately. And the lady, she immediately figured out the pain area. She massaged it. Then I told her, he kept telling me IT band. And I have never had these issues. I said, I have never had these problems. So he kept IT band. She said, no, it seems he's got a cramp. The cartilage is pushing against the bone. That's what hurts. Right. And the left foot shin. So I took off my shoe to walk. She would massage it. I pretty much said, nahi bhaiya, this is not happening. I'm not even walking at 15 minutes per kilometer. This is not going to work. I'm not going to. Again, the target, the obsession with target. He kept telling me, no, you forget whatever. You do, just finish the race. Forget the target. Don't think about that. I kept looking at the target. And he pushed me really hard. And I realized he's not listening to me. So in between, I went off without telling anybody. I went off to sleep in a tent. I actually went off and I was snoring. The first guy who came to wake me up, I literally cursed him in Punjabi. I said, you touch me, I'll bash you. So they had to get Anmol back to kind of pull me out. And somehow he started telling me, look,
आपने क्या बोला उसको पंजाबी में बताओ?
मार दूंगा. He got Anmol back and he kept telling me, look, you're a morning runner. The sun is going to come out. Your game will change. I said, my game.
See, this talk can be make or break, right? नहीं मतलब अगर उस टाइम पे आपको कोई एक रीजन आपको दे दे छोड़ने का, आप एक सेकंड नहीं लगाओगे छोड़ने में, और एक रीजन दे दे चालू रखने का, आप चालू.
He made my videos also Anmol. I was in pain. I can look at the video. It was funny also. Now I share it as a joke. But it was there. It would hurt. But the thing was, he kept telling me this, keep pushing. And eventually, in those 6 hours, I hardly did 35 kilometers. So now you get disheartened. But he was right. After 10 o'clock, my game changed. I literally pulled 50-55 kilometers in those last 6 hours again. He had to go for a cricket match and he asked me, what's your target? I said, 140, 150 ho jaye na. Seems like worthwhile. So, theek hai, go for it. Once I started moving again, 140 became to 100 miles. Let's go for 100 miles. And 100 miles became to 170. 170.
So you did not go into this thinking about the Sparta qualification?
No, I went in. The amount of preparation, I was going for 200 kilometers. You have your bad patch. I had my bad patch then. I couldn't do much about it. I couldn't control myself. Wohi mental weakness. So basically, he kept pushing me throughout that dark phase. Eventually, he kept calling me also. After I kind of went through the phase, the strategy then became, I would stop I would run like that. I'll try and do 8-9 kilometers in an hour. And I had 5 minutes to spare where I would go to the physio and they would massage me for the next hour. That pretty much became my 6-hour strategy. And he kept telling me, look, if we get, I realized, and then I asked the organizers, how much do I need, how many laps do I need for 180? That was my Sparta qualifier. And I got to that before 21-20. I had time, And eventually the official result said 188. Watch said again 188 kilometers. And
188 was the official.
The watch was around 190.
You're well qualified.
Very easily it kind of went through. The qualification was... And now that I look, he told me this also, because my watch, I was not going for an official 200, but by my watch 200. If nothing else, it's a mental barrier. 200, right? And he told me, baad che na tusi regret karoge.
Yeah.
And now so 193, because when I was charging it, it kind of just restarted again. So that activity, I had to stitch the activities together. So I know it was 195, and I kept thinking, boss, 5 kilometers, 5 kilometers, man. If those 5 at least I would have had that 200 unofficial, right? But it just kind of worked out in the end, and I felt so strong at that point. Move, acha, you get that high. You're lapping people. Then people are walking, you're lapping. This kind of works for you. So that was a strong thing.
That is incredible. How does it feel having come from a 2:23 half marathon runner to this 195?
It's amazing. I still feel my 2 cents running a marathon or half marathon at pace is I still feel harder than doing an ultra, because I die 1,000 deaths.
People get amazed when I tell them an ultra, a 50k ultra is easier than a 42k marathon.
Doing a marathon at pace, especially.
Correct.
Right?
Because marathon, that's the game, right? In marathon, you do not stop for tea breaks. In ultras, you can.
You can do whatever you like.
Yeah.
But just running a marathon at pace is really amazing. So I eventually, the target remains, get to a BQ, hopefully in the next couple of years. I need to still shave off 10 minutes for that.
10 minutes, okay.
But I feel it is achievable now.
For sure.
I need to do a little bit of more speed work and kind of improve my half marathon. Probably get it to a sub 90 now. So it's around 132 right now. So get that off, and then the marathon time will fall in place.
Wonderful. So what a journey this has been. We're coming close to 1 hour and 13 minutes. So we'll look to end this. So tell us, why do you do all of this? मतलब क्यों इतनी बसूड़ी पाल रखी है?
So I was at a wedding function yesterday, just right next door, Shagan thing. And everybody, so the guy who's Shagan, he calls me Mamu. So he says, Donny Mamu, you'd make us look bad. Please stop this. Okay. So he says, you make us look really, 24 hours is not a joke. Okay. Stop doing this. Okay. So I never thought I'll kind of take to this. But you're right. So like I told you, this week's been very easy. I've just been walking, not even been running. I kind of miss it. I don't know. It's like my drug of choice now. I can't describe that. I just enjoy. For me, it gives me a lot of peace. If I
it's
run
a drug.
In the morning,
it's addictive. Is it not?
If I run in the morning, it gives me just a lot of peace. I've started off my day correctly. It's just that. And you're right. Partly, I do feel now, okay, how much is it that you can push yourself? You keep looking at challenges, and I know it's a mental challenge. At this stage, it's more of a mental challenge than a physical one. But I want to see, how much can you kind of push yourself in that direction gradually.
So what's your mantra? Like what keeps you going? How do you push yourself when the going gets hard? What do you tell yourself? Is there something that works for you pretty much all of the time? Is there a self-talk?
Not really. I kind of, at least in the ultras, what I do is now if I go through that phase, like in Silk Route, I went through a lot of that, especially. I would sit on the side for 2 minutes and kind of just let that process and get out of my system and then start walking. But I keep pushing myself, okay, nothing else na. It's very cliched, but I kind of set the smaller targets. Okay, get to that point. Okay, walk to that tree. Walk to this point. I now know for sure this is a phase. I have to somehow kind of push myself to get over the phase. Once the phase will pass. You will go through phases. It has to pass. But at that point, then I don't start seeing the eventual goal. I start breaking it into smaller pieces. Okay, get to this next point. Small random things. Get to the tree. Get to the marker. Take one step. Keep walking. Keep moving. And once you kind of get through that, I feel I have the strength and fortitude to then pick up again. because even that 24-hour thing, look, I was telling you I did 50, 55 in the last 6, but the point was I'd hardly done anything in the previous 6. So I was rested also theoretically as compared to the others. It's just relative, right? But you have to kind of, like they say, this too shall pass. You have to tell your head it is going to pass and just wait for it.
Yeah. So yeah, for life as well. That works just as well for life as well, so right? True. When the going gets tough.
So true. I was reading in the US now in a couple of MBA courses, they make you run a marathon in one semester because it teaches you so much about life. It's like any marathon. I ran NDM when you asked me. I shouldn't have, but I did. And the first half was so nice, 137. I said, boss, aaj to you're going to kill this. And but you have to tell yourself this, and you kill it actually in the negative sense. Yeah. Because by 30th, the first cramp came. Yeah. By 32nd, even I was seeing the results, 35, even for a sub 330, I had 40 plus minutes to do 6.5 kilometers. And I couldn't. And I tell myself I can do this walking in my sleep. Yeah. Right? But when it goes wrong, like you were talking about, so marathons are hard, And if it's not your day, it's not your day. You can try whatever you do. It's not going to happen. So you have to keep pushing.
Munish Jauhar sir, this has been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed this conversation. We were saying कि बीच में अगर रोकना होगा तो clap करके रोक लें. We did not have to stop once. Like this is incredible.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I'll see you at another race soon.
Hopefully. Thanks.
Thank you.
See you.
Cheers. Thank you for staying with us till the end. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please consider subscribing and also sharing it with your friends and family. If you have a takeaway or a learning from this episode, or it made you feel a certain way, you can leave us a comment or a review. This is a zero-cost way of supporting the podcast. I really hope you will do it. Also, it is now a weekly podcast, so you can look forward to an episode every Friday. If you subscribe, you will get a notification when a new episode is released. So do it now. See you in the next episode next Friday. Until then, my friends, keep working on finding your ultra.